Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at a case where police officers falsely arrested an innocent man by making up a bunch of different reasons and then unlawfully held him in jail for 8 hours. On February 20th, 2023, the Chillicothe Police Department received a 911 call from a gas station employee complaining about a male subject who was allegedly drunk and caused disturbance to some customers. The employee also stated that there were kids around the gas station that eventually left because of the male subject causing problems for them. Let's start off by listening to the recorded 911 call.
911 emergency?
Hi,
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're going in and out. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm a worker down here at Dutchess BG gas station.
Okay.
I have a guy up here, he's drunker than mofo, bugging my customers, and we had some kids out here, he went and bugged them, and they took all out, but he's still here, he's out front of my store.
Okay, do you have a description of him?
Yeah, he's a white dude, got short hair, he's wearing a black shirt with, Bart Simpson on the front of it, and like some decals on the back.
Okay.
And he just walked around the back of my store so I could see him. But I think he's wearing like black pants.
Do you think he walked there or is he in a vehicle?
He walked here.
Okay.
He definitely walked here from one of the hotels behind. But
okay. And what was your name?
with black pants.
Go to listen somebody over to check for him.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, Bobby.
At this point, solely judging from the 911 call, it appears that the male subject was indeed bugging people at the gas station. And this was exactly the information that was relayed by dispatch over to the officers on duty around the area. But it's worth noting that the officer's duty was to investigate the ordeal instead of jumping to a conclusion and making an arrest. While keeping this in mind, we'll take a look at what the officers did throughout this encounter. Anyway, 2 officers of the Chillicothe Police Department responded to the scene and located the male subject with the help of the description provided to them. They subsequently made contact with him and immediately demanded ID. This entire ordeal was captured on one of the officers' body cams.
Hey! Don't make me chase you, man. Come here a second. What's going on tonight?
Always going back to my hotel.
Okay. Down here for some more alcohol tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. You got an ID on you, man?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead and sit that down somewhere.
Yes, sir.
We got a call on you early here. You were causing a disturbance?
No, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, you're good. Looks like he had to close the store for you and everything, man. He didn't want you coming back in there.
Yeah, no, I was just walking back around.
Okay. Let's see your ID, man.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry about that, sir. I just walking back to the hotel, you know?
Where are you from?
Southern Ohio.
Okay.
Specifically, like...
Drink some alcohol tonight?
Yeah, I was just walking back.
How much you had to drink?
So I'm just walking back.
How much have you had to drink?
I haven't drove, I haven't done that.
Didn't ask you that. I asked you how much you had to drink.
One White Claw.
Okay.
The male subject here is Bud Swayze, an Ohio native who had just returned from a mission trip to Southeast Asia to provide drinking water to less fortunate families. Earlier that night, before the 911 call, Mr. Swayze had a welcome home dinner with friends at a local restaurant and checked into a hotel located near the gas station where this incident occurred. As seen in the footage, the officer initially ordered Mr. Swayze not to walk away and to come speak with him instead. Following this, the officer continued to question him and ask for his ID. Taking these factors into account, it could be said that the officer was now detaining Mr. Swayze. It's generally understood that a police officer is allowed to detain you if they have reasonable suspicion. This is a situation in which they can reasonably presume that a crime is, was, or will soon be committed. This suspicion is founded on the officer's educated assessment of the circumstances and the facts they know. Judging by this, we can assume that the officer may be lawfully detaining Mr. Swayze. as it wouldn't be difficult to have reasonable suspicion, especially after the 911 call. But things soon started to get worse.
So what happened when you were here earlier, man? There's some kids out here in the parking lot, you were vaping in the store. What was going on with that? You just having a bad night, or what's going on? Because like I said, we got a call on you earlier, okay? And you'd already left.
I apologize for what I said.
Who are you here with?
No, I'm just here by myself.
Buddy. You have a hotel at the Christopher, you said? All right, what brings you?
Walking back to my hotel. Yeah.
What brings you into town? Anything in particular? Just trying to find out what your story is, man. Okay?
Yeah, no, I'm cool.
It's not a trick question.
No, we're cool. So if you want to talk about it, a lot of the Israelis, Assad, I don't know if you guys know about Palestine and stuff like that. There's a lot of foreign entities in your town. I know you guys busted the old massage parlor down there. You thought like a couple girls giving a little rub and tug for $60. It was a big bust.
What are you? You about to tell us you're some sort of like white supremacist or some shit like that?
No, hell no.
Why are we talking about different ethnicities in this town?
No.
And then tying that into a rub and tug massage parlor.
Right.
What was your first question? What led into that, Kite?
I just want to know what the story was.
I was literally just walking down the street.
Okay.
So why are we talking about people of different ethnicities all of a sudden? Where'd that come from? How is that tying into your story? We're just asking about you.
Right. No, I'm this little guy walking down the street. I was like, hey, I'm in town. Hey, where's a good restaurant? They told me Applebee's.
Okay.
B-Dub.
I'm interested in your line of thought on, you said, talking about Palestine and Israelis. What finished your thought? I'm genuinely curious at this point.
Well, I'm just saying.
How does that tie into you being in Chillicothe?
Yeah, I'm just walking down the street. I appreciate you guys talking to me. I really do.
Now, it's to be noted that the officers had absolutely no business trying to figure out why Mr. Swayze was in Chillicothe, or what his thoughts or opinions were about anything at all. However, this was exactly what the officers were doing. At this point, the officers arguably went from a consensual encounter to an investigatory detention, where Mr. Swayze was not allowed to leave. And not only that, Mr. Swayze was then patted down and searched for weapons. Watch as the officer asked for consent to a search while he illegally searched him anyway.
You got any weapons on you or anything, man?
No, sir.
Right.
No, sir.
Place your hands on the front of that vehicle for me.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, we're okay.
Just gonna pat you down for weapons, okay? No weapons, right? No knives, guns, bazookas?
No.
Do you have anything in your pockets at all considered illegal?
No.
Careful check.
It's yes or no question.
Careful check, man. Got anything in your pockets?
You did a safety check.
Okay. All right. Relax. You relax.
What the officer just did is known as a Terry frisk. According to the federal law enforcement training centers, a Terry frisk is defined as a limited search for weapons, generally of the outer clothing, but also of the areas which may be within the suspect's controls and pose a danger to the officer. Many law enforcement agencies teach officers to frisk via a pat-down of the suspect's outer clothing. However, this raises the question of whether the officer had the legal right to frisk Mr. Swayze during this encounter so far. The legal basis or justification for a frisk is stated as follows: reasonable suspicion that the suspect is armed and dangerous. So, taking these facts into account, we can conclude that Mr. Swayze's Fourth Amendment rights were now being violated as a result of this unlawful search. This is also supported by the same document, which states that an officer cannot automatically frisk everyone lawfully stopped, since in addition to reasonable suspicion that criminal activity is afoot, the officer must also be able to articulate reasonable suspicion that the suspect is armed and dangerous. In this case, one could argue that the officer had absolutely no reason to believe that Mr. Swayze was armed or dangerous whatsoever. He was simply walking down the street and showed no signs of aggression or retaliation. In fact, it was the complete opposite of that. He easily complied without a problem.
I want to check your eyes real quick, okay?
Yes, sir.
Just relax, turn toward the main a little bit. follow this pen with your eyes, okay?
We're not doing no public in-talk stuff.
You don't want to do the test? All right, turn around, put your hands behind your back.
For real?
Yeah, you're under arrest.
Damn.
Solely in-talk by intoxication.
We just told you that we're not doing the public in-talks.
Looks like we are tonight. Relax your hand, man. Put together like you're praying there.
You're good.
You're good. You want to or?
Yeah, better.
Where's your other ones? Do you have two on you? That's fine.
I'll get them back to you.
You're fine. Trusty fingers.
I was walking back to my hotel, man.
Yeah, you've pulled us out a couple times now, man. You just had too much to drink tonight.
Just going to the drunk tank freight out.
You're a little bit peanut butter jelly as the president on this.
Just a change and
Okay, man.
they're like $20, bro.
So no one's back in your hotel to take possession of you?
You're by yourself. One desolate Lone Ranger, I'll walk around and Chillicothe, Ohio.
I was literally walking back to my hotel, bro.
We get that. But
What is this, JD? What currency is this?
Thai baht.
Do what? Country wolves in Thailand. Thailand, figured. The Thai part. It's good.
Put this in your wallet. I got some coins from other countries too here. Make sure I get those picked up.
Yeah, dude, I'm on the next dude. Like I'm helping you guys out.
How you doing that? Because you caused us some issues tonight, man.
It's weird. The block is hot, bro.
What do you mean by that?
It's just like I didn't even do anything.
Well, we got called to you because of your conduct inside of BP earlier. Apparently you were in some sort of verbal altercation and we weren't looking for you. Because you weren't here anymore when we got you, and now you're trying to come back. And so concerned that they're locking the doors on you.
Yes, sir.
And we're talking to you, and it's hard to keep you on one train of thought, man.
My dude.
Too intoxicated.
Anything on you, shoved in you, you're going through the scanner. If you got anything taking anything into the jail, it might be a felony.
I was just walking by.
So nothing else illegal on your person, nothing illegal on you, right? Because it will be a felony, it's felony conveyance. If you go into the jail, they have a body scan.
They're going to scan you.
I had a vape pen on me. You already get the vape pen?
It's in your pocket.
Yeah.
All right, man. We're going to do...
That's all I got. We good?
Yep. I'll head over to the...
As seen in the footage, the officer tried to conduct a field sobriety test on Mr. Swayze in an attempt to determine whether he was a danger to others as a result of being under the influence of alcohol. In response, Mr. Swayze refused to partake in anything of that sort, and that's when the officer decided to place him under arrest for disorderly conduct by public intoxication. First of all, it's worth noting that Mr. Swayze was well within his rights to refuse any field sobriety tests. Secondly, since this was a warrantless arrest, the Constitution requires that police officers now need probable cause to perform the arrest. Relating to this, it stated that any peace officer, as defined in Section 2935.01 of the Revised Code, may arrest without a warrant any person who the officer has probable cause to believe has committed any violation of law and shall make the arrest within a reasonable time after the commission of the violation of law. In this case, however, the officers did not have the right to make an arrest without a warrant, since they cannot base the arrest on something the 911 caller had said earlier. The officers are only allowed to arrest Mr. Swayze based on what they observed during their interaction with him, making this a completely unlawful arrest. Regardless, after arresting and placing Mr. Swayze in the back of a patrol vehicle, the officers finally had a word with the gas station employee who initially made the 911 call. Note that this is something the officers should have done prior to arresting Mr. Swayze as part of their investigation.
I almost forgot to tell you guys pulled some money out of his pocket that wasn't from the Americans.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he tried to pay it, and I confiscated it.
So this
Yeah, I confiscated.
Okay, did he end up buying anything?
He bought these bag of chips and a thing of Pringles
With
real money.
Real money?
I forced him to pay with real money because I wasn't taking whatever that
Whatever
was. If it
this
was real, I
It's
don't-
from Thailand. I asked him about it. It's
Yeah, he said it was from Thailand, but he also said it was from somewhere else in Japan too.
he's a little. He tried to pay for some chips and stuff with some of his Thailand.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that. I seen you guys pull money out of his pocket, and it was like, oh. He also tried to pay me with that. I forgot, but this is technically his bag of chips.
That he did pay for.
No, he does not own it. He actually knew.
Ultimately, Mr. Swayze was taken to jail where he was booked and charged with disorderly conduct by intoxication. More specifically, the officers charged him with Section 2917.11b2. Upon looking at this section of the Ohio Revised Code, it stated that no person, while voluntarily intoxicated, shall do either of the following. And since they charged Mr. Swayze with subsection number 2, it reads, engage in conduct or create a condition that presents a risk of physical harm to the offender or another, or to the property of another. However, as far as what the officers witnessed during their interaction with Mr. Swayze, at no time did he engage in any conduct that presented any risk whatsoever, whether it be of physical harm to an individual or to any property. Despite this, he ended up spending over 8 hours in jail before finally being released in the morning. He was not provided with a means of transportation to return to his hotel and consequently had to walk 5 miles back to where he was arrested. Soon after, since he had clearly committed no crime, the state had no option but to dismiss the charges against Mr. Swayze by claiming that they had no intention of prosecuting him at this time. As of the date of this recording, Mr. Swayze has stated that he wishes to file a lawsuit and is still looking for legal representation. Be sure to check out our previous video where we cover another outrageous police encounter.